So, who has questions?
I'd like to follow her wonderful comments there on outrage. And it was last year that I read or heard the comment, it was one of the great reasons to be against the death penalty. You probably know of it, a man who said, you know, I want the death penalty to be outlawed because if something happened to my family, I would be outraged and want to kill the person who did it. And he wanted a law to prevent him from carrying out his outrage. And I thought it was really struck me that that was pretty good thinking.
Yeah, he said, don't allow me to be a murderer too. You know, keep me from that. Yeah, I remember that too.
The state is murder by proxy. Then if you support the state, doing work right.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I just wanted to kind of move off of that emotional outrage in a different direction.
Sure.
While I was at the prison, when they were preparing for executions, in the 2 or 3 days ahead of time, all of the inmates were upset. Mm-hmm. And the rage in the inmates would rise to a volatility that was unbelievable. Well, one thing that I thought was fascinating was that on the day of executions, the staff, the guards, would call in sick. And they would always, the day before, have a practice, session, and had trouble finding anybody to volunteer to be the victim. To be the one being executed. So they do everything they can to look like they're the big tough guys, all year long. But when the executions came, the whole prison was awash with a different kind of emotion.
Absolutely. Well, and I've been really privileged to talk with some folks who work with the Department of Corrections, because that's another group that I do outreach to as any member of law enforcement, and obviously that includes corrections. And one of the mental health professionals there told me that, and she's witnessed, well, not witnessed, but she's been there for I think 2 out of the 3 last executions in Montana, and she talked about how the staff really view the death row inmate as more dangerous the closer they come to their execution date, because all they have to do is lash out and kill another inmate or a guard, and that immediately saves their life, because then they have to be alive to face trial. So you talk about prison safety here, and you talk about the Department of Corrections, and they have to be more on guard, because in order for this person to save their life, they could lash out. So I mean, it's just this really ridiculous process that corrections has to go through.
I find it fascinating that never gets to the press.
Absolutely.
How the staff are affected.
Yeah. I'm here. And they have to volunteer. And we've talked to people who've been with those staff members after, and how they binge drink, or they like you said, or they call in sick, or they quit their jobs. We've known people who've never been able to work in a prison again, because how can that not deeply affect a person, But you're right, that's something that we don't talk about. And when I talk to legislators, it's something that they had never thought about. Who actually has to walk this person to their death? Who has to strap them down to the gurney? We don't think about those things, and we're not wired to do that. I don't care how tough you think you are, So.
One other point too of helping people through this emotional journey is when I'm bringing an audience through it, toward the end of it, after we've been over with the victims and what the victims have suffered, and you have to plunge in there. So you waited 20 years now for your justice and your closure, and so you're allowed to come and sit on the front row and now watch as the person's being killed in front of your eyes, and kind of just leave them with that. Can that raise questions? But then toward the end, to just say to people, now I'm going to push you. You believe the person who did this crime the crime is so outrageous they deserve to die. Could you do it? Could you do it? And if you find a part of your soul saying, well, I don't know if I could do it, there's a part of your soul that has not said yes to the death penalty. Because if you got to hire somebody to kill for you and you don't want to be there, there's a part of us. And we have to go to that place. I want to see him die. Well, could I do it? And it's a personal responsibility question. And it's also a deeply emotional question.
Yeah, it's problematic when we leave it up to.
Doesn't that also get to the fact that none of us in this room would ever face the death penalty? Yeah. We might kill someone, but we're very unlikely to have that happen to us. We're white, middle class, we can get good lawyers, we can have temporary insanity, and everybody will buy the story. So we are not going to ever be on death row. And sometimes that helps people to say, you know, this couldn't happen to you. You could go and torture somebody, and you probably would figure a way to get off.
There's another issue, and it was in the news in the paper here a couple of days ago in Missoula, that advocates of the death penalty very emotionally dredge up, which is child rape.
Oh.
That they, you know, they may not even support death for murders, but when it comes to child rape, they will. I guarantee you, the support for the death penalty among for child rapists would be much higher than murderers. And that's one that you constantly hear.
Right, and it's not on the books in Montana.
The Louisiana legislature passed that. They said, let the Supreme Court turn it down. We're going to get points for this.
There was a man accused, a 70-year-old man in Missoula, accused of raping a 4-year-old girl. That story is online in Missoula, and the comments online start with fry him, smoke him, you know, pull the switch on this guy. He hasn't even gone to court yet.
Well, that happened to the man who stomped on the kitty cat.
He got death threats for
and he shot himself. I mean, you know, he was so scared that
he shot himself.
Yeah,
he killed himself.
He used a cat, ran in the paper, and then he got death threats.
Well, look at the Democrats who passed health care reform. They got death threats.
But yeah.
No, but I mean all that.
But yeah, we do. We hear that a lot about child rapists, and the thing in Montana is, I mean, at least now that's not going to happen. Even if that guy's convicted, it's not on our books, you know. So people, and I think there's total merit to what Sister Helen said about this moral outrage that we feel, and we should be upset about that. But then what do we do with it, and how does that translate?
Well, it may not be on our books, you know, as this white middle class American whatever. However, it doesn't take much to have mistaken identity. So it might very well be on our books, whether we want it or not. Identity is a strange thing, and you just never know what tomorrow's going to bring. You don't.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
I just want to throw another little thing in here. As I've been chaplain at the State Psychiatric Hospital for 13 years, you know, I see some really heinous crimes committed by the mentally ill. But isn't it strange that society will set the mentally ill aside and say, we're not going to take their lives, but then we select the people we do want to kill?
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. Well, I think it's about time to wrap up, and thank you all so much for coming, and thank you for being involved. And I wanted to add a couple minutes here at the end about if you're at all interested in, you know, having your faith community get involved in this issue. I'm sure that many of you are already involved in this. I know that you are, but talk to me. I mean, we can provide a speaker to come to your church. We can help you host a discussion or show a film. Matt and I have talked extensively about how to reach out to evangelical communities, and we've decided that we're going to try to do some roundtables that are pretty informal and just discussions. And so if you have any inclination to want to do anything like that, please do. We really need your help, and we really are serious about passing this bill in 2011. We really thought we had it in 2009. We really thought we had it. So I mean, this is not something that we're just kind of starting to do long term. This is our push. We have a year, a little less, and we need your help. And we need you to reach out to your legislators, and we need your contacts in other parts of the state too, because luckily Missoula is really great on this issue for the most part. So we need your help in the Bitterroot, and we need your help in the Flathead. So really, please, if you want to get involved in this, do talk to me. Take my business card. I would love to talk with you about how we can get you involved. So thanks for coming, and I think there's a little break now. So everybody, and take stuff from up here. So.